I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Minutes of the previous meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additions or corrections? Excuse me. Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Close same sign. Motion carries. Bills. There was one additional bill on our desk for postage meter.
Move to approve payment bills.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve payment of the bill. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Brown.
Aye.
Deesett. Aye. Volk.
Aye.
Frith.
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye. Motion carries. Financial reports. Anything over the ordinary? That was missing something.
No, we'll just have to do a letter transfer. Yeah. I'll do that next meeting.
That time of the year?
Yep.
Okay. Is that acceptable motion to approve financial reports?
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to second on financials for the discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda, anything to add?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion to second to approve the agenda, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The agenda is approved. Okay, Sarah, you're up first. Industrial extension. Good morning.
Good morning. Just a little update from us. The new 4-H year will open up in next week, actually, yeah, next week. And we had a really good turnout for Family Fun Night and lots of calls in for new families. So we're trying to set them up with new clubs and kind of see where we go from there. We are going to have our annual pancake breakfast on October 2nd, so that's kind of like the start of the 4-H week and all the 4-H week activities. So we'll be looking for those activities the week of October 2nd, which is 4-H week. And we did have our state shotgun shoot in Bismarck last month. We had 12 Ramsey County kids compete, and Braden Berg from Ramsey County was the high junior shooter, so we got a big trophy, and I was pretty excited about that. We do have some classes coming up at the Hope Center. They've been getting a lot of produce in, so they're hoping to help their clients utilize some of that produce. So we're in zucchini classes, they're getting a ton of that. Salsa, herbs, and whatever else they ask us to do. So Lindsay Overmyer is going to be helping with that. And we're going to be team teaching over there within the next couple of months. The preservation has really increased. A lot of people are calling with questions, which is good because it's a very scientific thing, and we don't want to make people sick. So we got a few food preservation classes coming up in the area too. And we do test pressure gauges up in the office, so we're trying to get the word out. Last week I tested a couple, which is good. One was not accurate, so we do offer that free service in the office. Lindsay just wanted to let you guys know that she's been doing a lot of yard visits, trees and grass and weeds, things like that. She's going to be doing some wheat midge soil sampling in area fields in the county. So she's got to do in random areas. So she's going to be doing that this month. They've been meeting for Roundup, trying to line up speakers because that'll be here before we know it too, coming up in early January. She did a junior crop scout field day up in Langdon. They've been doing those, they have 8 youth and they're gonna do an elevator tour in October. We've got soil sample bags for soybean cyst nematode up in our office too, so people can utilize those as well. And the dishwasher is installed and we've used it at least a dozen times, so it's awesome. We've been doing some food preservation downstairs to get ready for some of the classes coming up, and just kind of getting everything nice and clean, and it works great and it's in a good location, so we really appreciate that. So that's kind of what we've been up to. If anybody has any questions for us or
Which bird is that?
Bradenburg, Briston and Trisha. There's that Trisha in our office, yeah, he's really been working hard. He goes out and shoots all the time.
Sounds like you guys have been busy,
Yeah.
as always. Okay. Appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
So they're gonna start a clay pigeon thing, does that start this weekend?
Gosh, what, if you wanna call our office and, yeah. I
I
can't
don't think
remember.
that's coming up.
I know.
For a 5-week thing, okay, I'll ask. Thank you.
Yes.
A lot of dates to remember.
I know.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Roger, morning.
Alright, so regarding that dishwasher, the place to put it in, I don't know if there was ever one there to start with, but it was simply made for that. It fitted perfect. So, anyway, got an estimate here from Thompson's to replace 5 windows in the courthouse. With COVID going on and whatever, we just haven't kind of kept up with that. And I just have the one estimate for $3,900. I had asked Last Shop numerous times to give me an estimate and never got one from them. So,
Where are these windows? Just random?
a couple on third, maybe 4 of them are on third floor, 1 on second.
Some of the ones that had the.
Some of the
The
ones, a
film
couple
stuff
of
on
them are the
them.
ones that have film on them, and some of them just lost their factory seal, they just do. I mean, almost like 1 a year we would have to replace. Just because they lost their factory seal.
Just releases the gas then?
Pardon me?
It's just releasing the gas inside?
Yes.
And then it gets all
Yep.
dewy inside.
Yep.
milky.
It's foggy inside them. So.
I'll move to approve the acceptance bid.
I'd second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second to accept the bid from Thompson. Okay, for the replacement of 5 windows in the courthouse. Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Yeah. Thanks, Roger, appreciate it. Next up, we got Sean. Morning.
Morning, everybody. Good summer. Come here for a couple things. This is for later. This is the one that we're doing today is for the Joint Training Center. Went and got bids from everybody local here so we could look into the Joint Training Center. I don't know if they filled you in about that at all. So, okay, so the Joint Training Center, we've got all the bids for it. I did talk to USDA about a grant. They will not do a grant, but they will do a loan. But when I did talk with her, they're getting rid of that program in Christmas. That's why I had this as the pressing matter at hand. If it's something that we want to look into, again, we talked about county and city sharing costs to help us pay for it. It would be a loan for up to 15 years and roughly anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a year for county and city would pay for the same. This is all going into just repairing the inside of the building. It's all basic. And at the end, I also put in some what it would cost for tables and chairs, things like that, if that was covered. But most of this is just to make sure that it is sealed and that we have the flooring done. It won't be leaking in there. We'd have to put in gutters. We'd have to put in a storm drain and some drain tiles. One good thing about this though, I did talk to Otter Tail, they get rid of that substation, and our name is number 1 on the list. So we can discuss with them that we can actually get that substation. That'd make a nice place for parking for regional classes. Again, there's no place for our search and rescue to have meetings. Our correctional facility, their officers have training in the courtroom and put holes in the courtroom and get a little upset with that. So most of their training is held there or at the ambulance service. Our police officers don't have a place to train either. So this is going to be for every first responder agency in this region. Also sets it up for a regional training center with the VIA, everybody else. So this was just an estimate that we're looking at, costs, totals, everything that was involved in it. So roughly around 150,000, 175,000 for a total cost of the building.
So when you're talking regional training center, when outsources come in, we get paid for that?
Yes, we'd be setting up so that it would be getting paid. So this is basically, it's a private 501c3, but it's really the county and city's entity.
That way income's coming back.
And we're trying to find a bunch of income, ways for income, but without a facility, it's kind of hard to have people come in and train. So yeah, so we have talked with BIA and talked with them for, they've got the training center out of Camp Grafton. This will be one of the resources that they use for their EMS responders, fire. Talked with the chief out there at BIA as well. It also be a place for them to have fire training schools, academies that too. So we have a lot of classes that could be scheduled here, and the income from that would go directly to the training center for basically decrease fees that we keep asking you guys for. So I just need to know if you guys would like me to go ahead and see if I can get a loan for this from the USDA, or if this is something that you guys would want to go and half the city on and just go up front on. Open to discussions. And I apologize for the picture quality, but my printer was not having fun with the colors in the back, so everything kind of blurred out a little bit. But we,
Cost, we're looking at 135 then.
135, we're looking at about 150 with, we had to add a few other things to it.
And then that puts it running.
That puts it running, yeah. Right now, the drone team's using it. That's where they keep their vehicle stored and their equipment stored there right now in the garage. But that's all they're using for is the garage right now. So it opens up a few other facilities. We already had a plan designed out so it would be compliant with USDA, so now we don't have to worry about that in the future. And everything is ADA compliant. So yeah, with the 150, when you see in the bottom where it says exclusions, it kept out a few things.
Have you talked to the city about it?
That's tonight at 5:30. Yeah. It would have been yesterday, but it was Labor Day, so you guys get the first bid, so to speak.
You think it'd be used quite a bit?
I think it's gonna be used all the time. I got LECs at my facility training at least 2-3 times a month, at least, and then we have more training that needs to be done, so. And that's just one entity. Search and rescue, they meet in the garage. So that's.
They're meeting in a garage.
They're meeting in the garage. That's where they have their meetings and trainings, in the garage.
You don't use the search and rescue building?
That's the building that they use. But there's it's the garage for a meeting place. So they can't have lunch there. And our fire departments are set up fairly well, but they don't like it when we come in and we're bringing outside sources into the fire department, especially the rural fire department. Because they're not staffed 24/7.
At the end of the day, what's the owning entity of this facility?
It's a joint 501c3 by all your first responders, the head of each agency, and it's not owned by anybody but the board of directors, with heavy emphasis on city and county. So there's a member of every police, fire, and EMS from Ramsey County. I should say Devil's Lake. We didn't get stark weather or anything like that yet.
Other counties could use it or not?
Yes, and other counties will be able to use it. But if they use it, they're gonna have to pay to use it.
We reached out to them to see if there's any.
There is interest. Yeah, that's why I'm saying regional now instead of county. Because there is no place for teaching in the state. So they've already come up here, we've used their armory a couple times for training. That's about it. That was our start. It's something that we'll have coming into this area quite a bit.
We use the armory, you gotta move things in there.
Yeah, all of our, even like something as simple as me going teaching first aid at the fire department, I have to bring all of our equipment down, which is not much of a hassle, but it's still a hassle. So when we have all of our classes with everybody, it's a hassle to bring our equipment all over the place.
So I got a question, so like the first aid would be an example, is like the dental offices and stuff, you could put on stuff there and they could come right to the facility.
Yeah.
So it would be something that we'd have to advertise a little bit. 'Cause I know they have somebody come in all the time. So it would be nice, that's you guys.
Yes.
It'd be nice if they could just go right there.
Yeah. For our small classes, they can come to the ambulance service, and I'm good for about 12 people. That's about it. That's our same room as this. So we need to have, this is expanded for about 50 people. So if you've been in the old ambulance building, that whole front part is gonna be just a training facility.
You want to set this up for 10 years, you know?
10 to 15 years, whatever I can get for the USDA loan. But they stopped the program in Christmas this year. They will not have funds. So she said if I wanted to work on it, I'd have to get working on it now. So if that's something you guys like to do, then I'd just like permission to start working on it.
Just to see what's available.
Just to see what's
See
available.
what kind of interest rate we have. I think that's really, I think that's reasonable, yeah. Go down that hole and see how the city feels about it too.
Right.
If they're open to it, I think it's something we should look at least.
Absolutely, that'd be a very good facility, used a lot.
Yeah, and hopefully what we'd like to do eventually is have it pay for itself. We're still looking for avenues for that. Then you guys won't have to worry about having to finance $50,000 every year for it.
Oh yeah, the hope would be is if you could get other agencies, and give them a reasonable rate, but still at the same time function it on, get enough money out of it that you can keep the place running, do
If you can make it regional, if it's a regional training center, like for the area, I think you can probably produce enough money to keep it.
And we're relying on volunteers to run these ambulances out in the country, so it's a good facility for them to train in. I think we'll encourage people to volunteer more.
But that'll be the next issue.
It only makes sense to me.
Well, even if it costs a little bit of money, it's money well spent.
Any volunteer service at EMS, I can get money for them for training. So there's money that I can get for them.
We have an issue up in Edmore country, you know. There's not a lot of it.
And Hamden, I did go up to Hamden and I had to address that more. Hamden did get an AED to raise money for that, and I'm gonna be doing first aid classes up there and AED classes up there. Nice town hall for them. Brought Guardian Flight with me as well. And just gave reality that the helicopter will be there a heck of a lot faster than any ambulance service will be. So we just visited with that a little bit, and I tried to get Hamden to see if they could do a quick response unit. No interest in that, but they will do first aid. So I'm gonna do a huge class of first aid and CPR AED up there. So try to get them going, and I'll get them a first aid kit, because they have some medical people up there as well. So I'm working on that. I did talk to Edmore. They lost every single person that was gonna take the EMT class. So all their future volunteers are not interested. So they're not, one of their members is not speaking to the state right now, and I gotta go up there and talk to him again. We might have to make Edmore into a quick response unit. Talked with Candy a little bit. It was Michigan that was doing the tax districts of Nelson County. So this next piece of information, to have all this glorious paperwork that I gave you with all the century codes and everything, and that's for you guys just to look at. That's for later, but I did talk to a company that specializes in setting up tax districts for EMS. They're presenting to my board about formulating a tax district just for EMS for income. We're at the point now, I just saw it this morning, that federal government's gonna make our fast food companies with over 100 chains to raise minimum wage to $22 an hour.
That's just California.
This is just small thing, I was having my coffee, I don't know for right now what. I'm having problems filling up my own ranks. I'm going outsourcing towards South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. They're paying their paramedics $11 an hour. So we're trying to draw from there because there's nothing left in North Dakota. There's only 1 or 2 services that are fully staffed at this point. I think Fargo was down 30 medics, that they're gone. Bismarck is both the same. So everybody's fighting for what's out there, and there's nothing in North Dakota. And I think I've got 4 out of Montana, 4 out of Minnesota that are available. The rest of them are from down south. So we're really pushing for down south, that $22 what it is. But we're trying to get our staff up. With that being said, we've been looking at a few different options to make sure that we stay in existence. We have never taken taxes from the citizens. And if we continue on, we will be functioning, but it's going to be at a bare minimum level. We're looking to expand our services. I already talked about community paramedic programs where we go out and help the community free of charge type of thing. We're also looking at the med van. I've talked about that before. So we're looking at a bunch of different programs for that. In order to sustain where we're at now at a level of advanced life support, we're going to have to get help from the outside source. So we're looking at getting tax money. My ambulances went, I left you an inventory list and bring it back. My ambulances went from costing $100,000 to $250,000 a piece. My cardiac monitors were $20,000 to $54,000 a piece. I do write grants for each one of those, and I'll find out here shortly if I got a grant for 2 new ambulances and some cardiac monitors, but it's, they're all crapshoots. So what I gave you are the century codes. First one is 571550, the very front page. I underlined it for you. What it does talk about is the county emergency medical service levy and the ability for the county to budget up to 10% of our cost replacements. Something for us to look at in the future. Right now, we're running our cost for our equipment is $1 million for us to have equipment. That's not the medical supplies in it. That's our cardiac monitors, our pumps, our ambulances, everything. Even our laryngoscopes, things like that, but not our medical supplies. So just in the very back is how much it costs for us to have everything running. And with that back cost, that was with ambulances worth $50,000 that we're going to get rid of here shortly. So that's another $250,000 ambulance. So we're looking at that, and I talked about the tax district versus just a Ramsey County levy. So it's something that we need to discuss. I had a letter that was also printed out there going for tax district versus a county levy. Which one is more feasible right now? Most of them are going towards the tax district. We're already set up for it. We're a 501c3. I have a board of directors. We may need to have a county member appointed to it to oversee it. But that's been kind of our policy. It's supposed to be for the past 50 years. We're still looking at it. We're going to have them come talk to us to set up a tax district, and then we'll have to take to the vote, take to the people for a vote how much we need. And we're just going to go what it's going to cost to keep us running. I'm not going to go for an extravagant amount of taxes. You can see what the other counties were getting. That was 2009, by the way, of what everybody was getting. Grand Forks is getting about $1 million. Tax district will help us if Edward goes to quick response, if Hamden's in quick response, if they're our tax district. Right now, Hamden, I'm working to build the services to help them out. This will set it up so we can actually help them get other pieces of equipment. An SUV, used SUV, for example, we can get them set up for a quick response unit or a first aid unit. So it'll help us out with all the other communities as well. All the training I can get for them for free already, but it's going to help our costs. So that's just some food for thought. Did anybody have any questions? It's been a busy summer.
There's a lot of areas that need help out in the county, isn't there?
Yeah, there's nothing out in the county, so we've been driving around. Actually, Guardian Flight just did a 200-mile radius stops, and we're looking at landing zones for every place for our helicopters. So we're working on that. If there's something, we'll say a combine on fire, somebody's in the vehicle, or somebody caught in the grain bin. We've had a headache with, I have to call Utah. My dispatchers call Utah. Utah calls our Guardian Flight. They go out to see and have to figure out where the scene's at. We're cutting everybody out. So we have somebody stuck in a grain bin. They're going to get torn out at the same time we are. We're going to have the landing zone already set up. So we did that with Hampton as well. We're gonna do that for the whole county. So if they're not needed, they're gonna go away. If they're needed, they're right there. Because it's gonna take us hours to get to Grand Forks, if that's where they need to go. So versus them for 45 minutes, it's a no-brainer. So I have a meeting with them tomorrow to finalize everything, and we should have landings all set up. So you'll be hearing the helicopter a lot more. It means they'll be flying out, but they don't charge. When they go off on these calls, they're gonna go fly, land. If I get there and go, no, you stuff is tow, they're gonna go back to the station. So,
And you are able to buy insurance now for the flight.
yes, we are. There's a membership for that.
Because I
If you
just
guys get
paid
that in the
ours.
mail,
Yep,
that is a legit thing now. They have that No Surprise Billing Act was enacted this year. They do have a membership. It's, I'm gonna plug it. It's 85, I think it's $65, $85.
for
a year
family.
For a family.
Yeah,
It's unbelievably
reasonable.
reasonable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for, I mean, that's
It's
cheaper than, we're cheaper, but we're cheaper also in the long run. $1,500 versus $60,000, that's.
Exactly.
quite a big
Under
difference
$50 here per
for family, yeah.
family. Yeah, I remember. It shows up on my desk and
Yes,
I.
yeah.
So, and if you guys want, I can have a stack of that information, if you guys would like that. I'm doing work for them, I'm just helping them out.
I have two questions. What's our Lake Region ambulance's total overall budget every year?
1.9,
What not?
1.9.
And what are we, you say that we're having problems getting medics, what are you paying for opening wages?
Starting wage is usually around 21, 22, so when they said that, I was like, okay. So, and that's for a brand new paramedic right out of school.
Okay.
We do have a sliding scale, and I'd be happy to show you that scale.
Well, I'm just curious, $22 isn't a horrible wage to try to attract somebody, but.
No, and we up that by 15%.
I mean. I just find it interesting after looking at this list. I mean, this is, that 10 years, 13 years ago now, 40 different counties or entities were taxing for EMS service.
Yeah.
At some different level, or some different levy authority, so.
Well, my board of directors have been pretty adamant in not wanting to have taxes. And to save, it's been saving our county for years.
Yeah, and that's, I think it's appreciative from the county, but at the same point, it's like, well, we need quality EMS services and we have to pay a little bit for them. That's happened.
Now we went from 340 to about 160 ambulances now. And it's gonna get less and less. So we're talking regional, it will probably be Lake Region, will be regional. And we'll have Nelson County, we'll have county ambulances.
Yeah, it's just the structure of how things have happened in North Dakota, with it's not just North Dakota, rural America.
Mhm.
There used to be volunteer services in every small town and everything just kind of contracted to the larger.
As far as the Guardian, how much of a load does that take off of you guys? They get these landing pads.
Very little.
Very little.
Yeah, so they only take the very critical patients, right? So, they take maybe 1-2 flights a week, where we're doing 2 or 3, 4 a day of transferring to, well, mostly down to Fargo. So that's what I'm saying, 2 or 3, usually it's 4 or 5. But Grand Forks has been full, mine's been full, so we can go to Fargo.
Have you had to go any further than that?
We don't go out of state
You don't
anymore.
go to sea?
No.
I know, because they were on divert here for quite a while and they were around Billings.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with beds as much as it has to do with, there's just no staff.
There's no staff.
There's no staff.
Just for a comparison, we're talking about volunteers, and our EMT's basic level for it is the same amount of schooling for a police officer. And our paramedics now is about the same as an RN.
It's a volunteer job.
It's a volunteer job.
It's a huge commitment for somebody to make it volunteer.
Yeah.
You gotta be the right person to do it too, because not everybody can do that.
Definitely needed.
Should probably address the training center.
Oh, yeah.
You think, just going ahead and giving our support and securing the USDA loan, is that what you're currently looking for, Sean? Or
Yes.
is-
Yep.
I'd go ahead and make that a motion that we
I'll second it.
support their efforts and I think if, it comes down to it where the county has to budget 10,000-15,000 a year for a training facility, I think that's something that will when that time comes, but,
Absolutely, pretty minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very much needed. So,
Yeah.
appreciate all your work and effort.
Yeah, so we have a motion and a second then to support, the ambulance service attempting to get a USDA loan for the training center, regional training center. And Sean will come back and you guys some numbers and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Thanks, Sean.
Appreciate it, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Kevin, morning.
Okay, start off, we'll go over our, road projects. Traveling on Ramsey 10, I did talk to Colin about that, and they're aware that the deadline is September 15th, but they haven't set a date when they're starting. Ramsey 4, close did start gravel at this morning, so they'll get it done before the deadline. And then the paver patches, they told me they would be able to start those till sometime in October, but we're still on the list to get done. Normally, we don't pave after September 15th, but I think we should probably, same thing happened last year, they weren't gonna do it until October, so we put it off, so I'm thinking we should just do it and then see how it turns out. But just so you're aware, October is when Strata is saying that'll happen.
As long as we got heat, it should be good, right?
And that's one other thing, you know, we won't let them pave if it's too cold or too wet, or, you know, that type of thing. You guys, think you wanna add about project that's coming up or going on?
Sure, I guess on round 3, I think I said at the last meeting that, we're gonna be under budget, and I had forgotten that, the state, the car system pays the mobilization automatically, and that there was a portion of that left to pay, so it's gonna be about 15,000 over, but that included that $50,000. So that's still pretty good. We're able to manage costs on that pretty well. Ramsey County 4 bridge, the final plan went in a week ago, so that'll be at November 18th. So that should be ready to go next year. Lots of should get cast hopefully through the winter. At least one of the suppliers has an indoor facility now for making those. So that'll be good. And then as far as the construction engineering on that, we guys want to put out an RFP sometime before that for services, so you can get a better rate to pay for those. That's it on those projects. And then Kevin, I guess you got it up here agenda, better rate program.
Yeah. So any questions on our projects that we got going on or coming up? All right, we'll keep moving then. We got the invoice from the DOT for our share of the bridge inspections for this year, and it's $5,196.70. Need a motion to pay that.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to pay DOT, heavy DOT 5196.70 for bridge inspection, our share of bridge inspection. Further discussion? You can roll call, please.
Brett,
I,
Wolf,
Aye.
Deeseth, aye, Brown, Lightfoot.
Aye. Motion carries.
Along with that same invoice, they sent us a form, a piece of paper that we need, that says where we get our local match from. It's not coming from federal dollars, whatever. So it comes from our real estate taxes. So we need a motion for the auditor and the chairman to sign that statement also.
move to approve auditor.
Second.
Chairman to sign.
We have a motion and a second to allow for signatures on certification of local match. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
And we got our invoice from the DOT for our share of the Hampton project, the paving project. This isn't a final, but this will be the biggest one of the of the ones we do get from them for our share. It's $268,367.99. And I do have that in my budget.
So, second.
Motion is second, to pay NDDOT for our portion of 23 for the project, for the discussion. Roll call, please.
Deesep,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye. Motion carries.
And we got an invoice from KLJ for the construction engineering that was done on our paving project on 3. It was $25,037.54. There'll be additional bills for the inspection on that yet too, but they're still within their contract estimate they gave us a long time ago, time of contract. So, I need a motion to pay that.
Move to pay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pay KLJ, for the construction engineering on the 23 paving project. Further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, roll call please.
Volk,
Aye.
Deesep,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye. Motion carries.
And we got some culverts from True North Steel. I guess I didn't put that on my agenda, but it was True North Steel for sites on township roads that were our responsibility to replace. And that cost was $7,742.96.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion in
Couple seconds.
couple seconds. Flip a
Definitely.
coin. Motion and a second to pay True North Steel for culverts for township roads. Further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, roll call please.
Volk,
Aye.
Deesep,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye. Motion carries.
I think the last bill, we got, some more cutting edges and some filters from Butler Machinery. And that total was $7,109.61. Motion to pay that.
Motion to pay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pay our bill with Bud Light for filters and cutting edges. Further discussion. Hearing none, roll call please.
Brett,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Deesep,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Motion carries.
All right, and then the Rapid City Local Roads Conference is October 18th through the 20th. The cost is $125 per person, and the rooms are $89 a night to be 2 nights. And I'd like to take Jason along this year, just so to kind of introduce him to the process. So the total of both of us for out-of-state travel will be $606. We'll be driving the county vehicle down, so it'll just be the gas.
Move to approve.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second, excuse me, to approve out of state travel for the local roads conference in Rapid City for Jason and Evan. Further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried.
And I also need to order some more cutting edges from motor graders. Just to be clear, when we bought that semi-load of edges, those were for winter use. So these ones that I need to order now are still for summer use. And they're gonna cost just under $7,000. And this should make it through the rest of the summer.
Move to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to order hopefully our last load of cutting edges for the, I was gonna say summer's done, isn't it? Every day was yesterday. But we still got a road grade to do, keep everything in shape.
2 more months.
2 more months.
Probably 3 more months.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or
Gonna get to Thanksgiving without any snow, I like it. Good
Around
call.
Christmas.
All right, we have a motion and a second to order cutting edges. Further
we're
discussion.
catching up for spring, right?
No discussion, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
And I did get 2 quotes for the, chips for next year. Strata had a quote for $18.60 a ton. And that's delivered in Devil's Lake. Allen also gave me a quote of $23.25 a ton, also delivered to Devil's Lake. And I need about 2,700 tons, so that cost will be, using a little bit, it'll be $50,220. I need a motion to accept the low quote.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the low quote, from Strata for, checks for next year's chips in the project at $18.60 a ton. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Our new pickup from, Lake Chinle showed up finally. The price has gone up just over $1,500. The original motion we made was $38,973. And the new price is $40,500 plus there's $199 delivery fee. So the total is $40,699. I think if we were to start over and get a new one, it would end up being even more than that, so I guess my opinion is probably, I don't know if it's fair, but the price of everything is going up, so that's probably about where we should be. So I guess I'll leave it up to you guys, what you want. We never did actually sign a contract with them, it was just an agreement. So, legal and paperwork, we don't have any of that.
How much of a choice do you want to take up?
Especially if nothing signed.
Like I said, I think if we start over and then
Yeah.
again, it'd be even more, way more than that.
How many bids, do you recall how many bids we had when we put it out for bids?
Well, of course, one guy owns them all, so we had a quote from Dodge. Ford wasn't making them.
That's right.
They weren't making the 3-quart, and Chevy. And Chevy was the lowest of that.
So does, any idea, does this $1,500 put us over the top of the Dodge bid, just up here?
Well, good question, I have no idea.
I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, I would guess so. I mean, everything's going up accordingly, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Dodge would probably be another $1,500 to show up for the two, right?
Need a motion or what are you doing?
Yeah, so the motion to pay the additional line.
Second.
Okay, we have a
We
motion.
need it, right?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do,
It's
it's in the budget.
be next year sometime. We didn't take it, so it'd probably be 45 instead of 40. All right, we have a motion and a second to allow for an extra, or an additional $1,500 on the new, pickup from Lake Chevy, correct?
GMC, yeah. Well, it's just Lake Chevy, other than that.
Further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, we're not paying, so.
With the delivery, it ends up being $40,699.
40,000. Okay. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, then we need to update our federal aid project form that we turned in October at the convention. I think I gave you guys the copy that they sent me, but we need to make sure we get our paving project from 2024 added on there. And also our ER projects on the third column, our ER projects are not listed yet, so we need to make sure we get those on there. Paul did give me an estimate for our paving, well, our 2024 project is a paving project on Ramsey County 3 from 17 south for 9 miles. And, we're looking at shoulder widening on these, so this estimate does include some shoulder widening. As we look at it, it might go down, or might go, but this is a fairly close number, so we'll put the estimate on this sheet of $2,760,000. And of course, our federal aid won't be enough, but we still have, gopher money, current money we can use. If our federal aid isn't enough, so. Just to keep that in mind, our estimate for that total project will be $2,760,000. And the ER projects, we have the estimates for them also, but we just need, they haven't given us, they only assign us a project number. Well, they haven't given us project numbers yet either, so we're talking back and forth with them now, trying to get those project numbers before the October meeting, so we can turn all this in.
The guy that gives those is gonna be on maternity leave for 6 weeks, so I don't know.
Guy, by the way. Anyway,
Yes, paternity.
There's only one guy in that whole place that does that?
Well, I don't know, maybe,
Second
yeah,
guy?
that's. Right, about another half, I guess.
so, but, I mean, just a heads up, we need to get this done, probably at the next meeting, we'll have more information. We'll have it ready for a signature then. But if you guys can think of anything, any other projects that we need to get included on here, those are the ones we thought of.
What are our ER projects?
Well, it's like our roads that washed out, and we had to fill in with gravel, and they're not
Okay.
hard right now.
So those are emergency type projects then?
Right, so these will be permanent, what are there, 3 of them, or?
The permanent emergency fixes,
Yep, exactly.
fixing the emergency fix.
Yeah, Prairie Road, County 4, north of the bridge, 110, just west of North 20, and then the 109.
Yeah, right on 9.
We have our own,
I think, the culvert sizes are gonna change on all of them, so.
Have we got any of our box culverts in that we've tried to get?
No, well, that's the one we're going to bid on and we want to share it over here. So then after that, it'll be, we'll know who gets the bid type of thing, and then
So there's still a shortage on that.
there is a shortage, but they did build an indoor facility now, so they can run all winter long now, which is gonna make a difference.
Right, but then there's a lot of bridge projects out there now,
Yeah.
with the additional funding, DOT, and a lot of them are 100% funded too. With the federal funds that came in, so there's gonna be more demand too, so.
It should help though.
Yeah, I think overall, helpful, I mean, and bidding it in November,
Rather than February
right, that'll give more time to get them.
on the list.
On the list and paid, hopefully.
So we're hoping that, what is it, 690 or something is gonna be a decent number?
Also, I think my estimate was a little, my final estimate was a little bit higher than that.
The only reason I asked is because we just did a temporary fix on some of these sites, right?
Right,
Because we get a lot of water in the spring again, are we gonna be in the same situation?
they'll probably be culverts, they aren't
It'll-
huge crossings, they aren't huge booths.
All of those are all regular culverts, not culverts.
But everything's just temporarily fixed.
Yeah, it was smaller culverts than what was there before is what's there now, right? I think you might have looked.
Yeah, one of them has got a little smaller culvert, and the rest are either larger or the same. So the only one that went down was 10. There was 3 culverts there and one failed, so rather than dig it out or anything, we just plug it. Now there's only 2 functioning.
Until we get our stuff.
Yeah.
We can hope for a good spring.
Yeah, so we got all the stuff.
I hate to have everything pulled out of there, gonna bring all that gravel and stuff back. And easier if you just dig it out and put it back, right?
Yeah, all 4 of them, yeah. And along with that, we'll have to, advertise for engineering on these. That's what the RFP is talking about for the bridge. In order to get it included on federal dollars, get your engineering included on federal dollars, you have to solicit for engineering firms and do the interviews and all that, so With any luck, we could do all of them at the same time. I haven't talked to Bismarck about that yet either. Sometimes they allow us to do all the projects on one RFP.
And bundling the notes and more work tables, but I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll, I guess, wait for the updated list at the next meeting to approve it.
Sounds good, yeah. Okay, the last thing I have is the ad in the paper for mowing the road ditches. A lot of that information on the bottom of that sheet isn't correct, so don't pay attention to that, but the wording of the ad itself, that's how it'll be in the paper. So we just need a motion, so we can put this into the paper.
I'll make a motion.
This is just the county stuff.
No, it's township stuff.
Township too.
Yep, everything.
We actually do our own in the county, so.
But
According to Century Code, that it's up to the county, it's the county's responsibility to put the ad in the paper for the township.
Got you.
We have a motion and a second then to advertise for fall road mowing. And to put the ad in the paper. Further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
That's all I have, unless you have something for me.
Forget anything, Kevin? Okay, thanks, Kevin, appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, up next, we had joint powers agreement, but we don't have a updated joint powers agreement back yet. So we'll have to push that unfinished business then up just the next meeting again, when, hopefully Bo will be available too. So we'll just roll right into new business. VA credit abatements.
Move to approve.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second to approve the 2 credit abatements that we have in front of us. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Letter of transfer. This is related to the drone
Yes.
funding.
Move it, dude.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the letter of transfer of funds. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And lastly, a state authorization, charity game.
we approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve that. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, visitors and delegations. Great. Non-stop already, so we're good to go. Okay, portfolios, start with Commissioner Holt.
We did not meet the last month, so I don't really have anything. There's our account for the treasurer, still making money, not losing money, so that's looking good.
As long as you don't have to pull it early, right?
I don't wanna do that.
I seen in the paperwork, we, paid for, we did like 1,300, down at the recorder's office.
Oh, yes.
So that's still going good, but other than that.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Fritz?
Well, we heard from, Sarah on the, NDSU stuff. Beth and Christie, over in the tax office, were down for education on Bismarck for the, tax seminar, assessing all that kind of good stuff. And they've been busy out in the county measuring buildings and lots. Other than that, they don't have a whole lot more.
Okay. Commissioner Lisa?
Of course, let me see, Lake Region Heritage Center, still has problems with their roof. We're waiting on a bid. I think it was a lot of money. I don't know, did they put anything in?
You
What,
get-
ARPA?
yes.
Okay, I don't know, yes.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot,
Yes.
yeah. They do have here September 18th, 19th, and 20th. They have a North Dakota Art Gallery Association. And they've had a lot of traffic through, so they've been quite busy. Treasurer's office, we got our, estimates out. Haven't heard too much back on that. We do have some annexations that are brewing. One is in, Prairie, I wanna move it to Lakota. So it's in Devils Lake School District, wanting to move to Lakota. Their kids go there. We picked up the application on Friday. We discussed it a little bit, so we'll see where that goes. I also got a phone call from Frank Schill out of Edmore, looking at maybe dissolving. So I will be working with him. I also would like some help as our Candy, we talked about this. We need to fill on the board, the reorganization and dissolving board. We need to find people that know, that worked with school districts because this is all coming up in the next year to 2 years. So we need to find some people. Frank Schill also was gonna look for some people that may wanna sit on that board because we have, a couple openings. So we need to look for some people.
It's been kind of a long road board because there hasn't been.
There hasn't,
happened
and it's coming.
Probably since what, Prairie?
We did one, I just did one about a year ago it was in Walsh County, so I moved 6/4 of land.
Oh, yeah, small annexation.
Yeah, it
But
wasn't
no
dissolving.
large dissolution probably since the Prairie District.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, and that's gonna be.
Tewksbury, yeah,
Tewksbury.
that was another one. So those are the things we need to look, to find some individuals that have a little knowledge and would like to sit on there.
I have a question about that roof.
About what?
The city, about the roof for the building.
Oh, the Lake Region Heritage?
How come they don't qualify for the grant when other businesses in town are qualifying for them?
I guess
Well, I know Creative Impressions got a brand new roof on their building and they paid minimal. Isn't that downtown? Doesn't it qualify for those grants?
I
It's
guess
a
I don't
downtown
know.
entity.
Trying to think of how that functions.
You know what I'm saying?
There's no grant though, all it is a, like a in-kind lieu type thing. Where you can get financing
Oh,
through, like how the Port Dexter program worked was you could use the street projects as collateral basically to go to the Bank of North Dakota to get a long-term loan for small. But there was no specific grant, there's facade grants and stuff like that, but nothing that I know of, I might be speaking incorrectly, but nothing that I know of for like roofs and stuff like that. But maybe since it's a historic building, I don't know, maybe there's some type of a grant out there for that, I don't know, since it's in a historic district or there's.
and I know Lisa's really on this. I mean, she's,
Well, I'm not saying she's not, but I'm just
yeah,
reaching out to.
Yeah, and I don't know business versus a nonprofit, that's a good question, though. It's worth delving into to see, maybe talk to them and see how they did it, maybe there'd be a way to find some grant money or something, yeah, that'd be good,
Because there is.
But it seems like that roof problem's been an issue for
years.
years and years.
Yeah.
I can't remember not talking about it.
Yeah, since I've been here.
Yeah,
So,
and it seems like some people don't, like some roofers don't even want,
right.
they don't want nothing to do with it.
Well, it's a very, and I've seen the ARPA documentation, so seeing some of the bids from there's a couple different companies, and it's a different style of roof, like most of the roofs in downtown are just a flat roof, and,
Right.
but this has flat roof structure, it has drains down into the building, it has that copper type setup that drops over the edges, and
Yeah,
it's a whole other beast, I think, and that's why a lot of people don't wanna touch it, because they don't wanna have to be liable if they don't get it right.
right.
That's what it comes down to. Anyway, yeah, but it's, find out some information, that'd be worthwhile.
Maybe so they could just peek the building and be done, right?
Yeah, I don't think we could do that.
I know, but
It would be nice to throw a roof on top of that thing. It'll be okay. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Senior meals is doing good. We got a dishwasher in there shortly, in the next month. Out at the jail, Lance and Steve were there last week, I was out for the closeout when they left, and We're happy with the way things are going. We're up to 50 prisoners now. I would think we're gonna stay there for a while before we go up some more. So. Captain's doing fine. Overall, facility seems to be upbeat, so I think we're on the mend.
Close to full staff, getting there.
Yeah, I think they're at 15 a day that managed to see there.
Not bad considering where we were.
Yeah, pretty comfortable there. And they had more on the list to interview, so. And, you know, a lot better. I think they brought all the prisoners back. Yes, they had them all back. It was cool.
Good deal.
But they were having a hard time staying in their 50. It just, it's not gonna go to 20, I know that, so.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Jeff?
Right.
That 50 limit is gonna be tough regardless, but
Yeah.
I'd much rather have 50 than a 96-hour hold.
Right.
It takes a lot of stress out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the cost of the other places wasn't even that exorbitant, if you looked at the bill, but constantly running people back and forth all over the place is just, that adds a massive amount of cost. You got people on the road constantly. So that's all, just hitting that.
Yeah, very quickly. Yeah. Everything's coming.
Okay, anything else?
Oh, that's good.
All right, from my perspective, I guess from our last meeting, I haven't had a Forward Devils Lake meeting or a library board, but we meet tomorrow. Social services, we met after our last meeting, pretty standard other than in talking about, obviously everyone I'm sure saw in the paper that human services and health department are combining into one big department. So there's been, I wouldn't say hiccups, there's just, you know, different contact points and things like that. And the bureaucracy's gonna change a little bit. The main thing that we talked a lot about at our meeting was, like we talked about here, employment, trying to draw people and how, and the thing that Rhonda and her staff were talking about was they hire a lot of young social workers that are right out of college, and the younger social workers don't seem to care about our benefits back. They just, they want, where's the cash? What's my salary? They said when you tell them what the benefits package is, their eyes just glaze over. They don't, well, because at this point in time in their life, they don't care if they have full health insurance or a 401k or you know, or any pension retirement, that kind of thing. So, and they're kind of hamstrung because of the state not having their salary compression study done. So she said that's been a huge issue. It's not just our district, it's everywhere. So they're continuing to try to staff up, but you know, the minute it's no different than anything else. But you get somebody trained, you get them good, they go someplace else to a bigger city. So it's a constant hire and hire and hire and hire and try to get people in place and hopefully they'll stay here and set some roots down. So that's.
Did they indicate what that's gonna do to, local public health?
The combination?
Yeah,
No, I haven't had any discussions on that at all anywhere, to be honest.
because if Department of Health is combining with human services, I would imagine that at some point they're gonna be connected somehow.
Well, I think there's
under
still,
one envelope.
that's a good question, I don't know, I mean, they're calling the whole thing Health and Human Services now, I believe. I think they're still planning to run the local public entities separately. Hey, we got maybe an answer back there.
Yes, we're the Department of Health, both the Department of Emergency Services. So we're not a department anymore, we're a division. Same with the Department of Public Health, the Division of Public Health, but everybody's under this, they got moved to a one big office. So they're all, that's the same entities, but it's the same entities working with their own.
I think part of the thought process behind it was, and it's not necessarily a bad one, is that if you put them all under one department head, they work together so closely on so many things already that you can basically go out and say, you know, kind of force some of those synergies. I think is kind of the thought process behind it. I guess that remains to be seen. We'll see how things run as it goes, I guess. But I don't think at least from our discussions of social service, I don't know if it's gonna change anything locally. It's gonna be kind of business as usual and hopefully we can, but we'll see what happens, I guess, long term. But anyway, trying to think of anything else. ARPA committee, The deadline for the grant applications was 31st August, 1st September, I can't remember the exact date, but end of the month. And we are meeting next 16th, so what's that? I don't even know what day it is anymore. So 2 weeks from now. Right? The morning of the next meeting, right?
No,
Friday.
Friday, God, I'm losing my mind. Friday the 16th, we're meeting at 8:30. 8:30. And if anybody wants a copy of Candy has a compiled Google document of everybody that's put in an application. Just so you guys can do some homework too, so the thought process is we'll sit down on the 16th, try to get it narrowed down, and then bring, that list to the commission on the 20th for first perusal, so to speak. It doesn't necessarily we have to make any decisions that day or anything. My thought was, I wanted to get it in front of the commission as a whole, previous to us having to approve the budget. So that way, if we needed to take some of those dollars, or we could make that split to roll back into the budget or whatever, so we have some options. And then the other question I would have, but not related to ARPA, is, what are we gonna have any clarity by October if we're gonna get the prairie dog funds, or are we pretty sure, we're pretty sure we're getting them, but, cause that's gonna affect how we structure the budget for next year too, cause I mean, if we wanted to maybe find a little bit of leeway to pull down a little bit, that would be the place we'd have to do it, if we had those prairie dog funds. So, but we'll have some more clarity here hopefully in the next month or so.
what do you think, Kevin? You think there'll be?
I think there will, unless something crashes, the oil industry crashes, that would be the only thing.
You never know. Crap could happen overnight. Cycles the wrong way, you never know what can happen. But, yeah, anyway, so we'll be meeting on the 16th. Candy has a good spreadsheet. There was about, $3 million probably worth of asks for the concept of what we were going with, $12 million or whatever. So, and we're working on an internal county sheet as well, so that we'll have a dollar figure at least a ballpark idea of what we think we would need to spend inside the courthouse for improvements and upgrades. Some of the things we've talked about here in the past, obviously generator, lighting upgrades, like that, cleaning out your so we're trying to have a list put together for that meeting too, so that everybody can kind of get a pretty good look at what we're looking at, so we can kind of figure out how we want to dig out those funds. So, more to come on that. From there, I don't think I have anything else. County Housing Authority, we met, but everything's going pretty well there. People are actually starting to move again before winter time, so that's good. We're getting some stuff built up. Other than that, I think that's all I have.
I guess I did, Kevin, do you have anything more on that stream crossing?
Yes.
Okay.
Finally got our, excuse me, our determination for their stream crossings on the 2 bridges from the state. And now we're gonna meet with the water board. I don't know if you know this, but that's our next meeting, and determine what size culverts go in there. And we won't be doing those till next year, so we're not really under the gun on this, but that way we can get them ordered under the old price of culverts and take delivery next spring or something.
Where's this for?
We have 2 bridges left that we need to take out.
Oh, this is for the bridges for next year's project. Okay.
The state water board finally got our, water determination flows through there.
All of that was like, what, 18 months or something?
Yeah, pretty close.
13 anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Really trying.
on another note, we had our final, meeting of the interim legislative committee on water drainage. The one that I was representing the Association of Counties on. Goal on that was to combine the 2 century codes that deal with water drainage and assessment projects within the state and the water resource districts. There was 2 different century codes, and trying to combine that language into one. And the main goal into that was not create any more burden for counties, which I think we've gotten a pretty good language on one bill. There was a couple combinations. One was the combining of those 2 century codes, and then the other one was on project cost assessments or cost benefit analysis through the state water commissions or the state Department of Water Resource they have come up with a cost benefit analysis and economic analysis on projects. The legislature has $1 million threshold on requiring that. Water Commission has an administrative policy to do projects, anything over $200,000 would require that. Trying to iron out some differences there. And so initially they had both of those bills combined into one. We were able to get the benefit cost analysis separated into its own bill, because I think there's a lot of consternation amongst that one, because I think it could create some issues on local funding on projects, not just water, but other types of projects as well as. So there's some language that needs to be ironed out and worked out on that. And one of the things that I don't think the economist from the water looks at the benefit of long-term improvements to soil crop qualities as drainage occurs, proper drainage, water management on fields, whether it be tile drainage, subsurface drainage, into an existing roadway or ditch, or different things like that. The biggest thing that I wanted to convey to them was keeping water away from our roads. And don't allow it to sit along county or township roads, because that just undermines the integrity of that roadbed. And so if we can keep water moving properly and keep it away from our road ditches, I think better.
Yep.
But I don't think we did any harm being on that committee, but I hope not. But and now those two draft bills will go through legislative council to make sure that there's no conflicts or with any other existing state laws. They'll introduce them into the legislature beginning of the session, and then they'll be debated and changed probably drastically before they finally get done and signed come next April at that time period. But
Give them a place to start though.
we gave them a place to start, and hopefully it can end some of that confusion by having two different century codes dealing with water drainage. So.
Okay, very good. Okay, anything else for the community work?
I had a couple things, just to clarify on the paver patches, we're gonna be doing the railroad tracks by Doyle as a project, the bridge on the Woods Rutten Road that approaches onto that bridge, and there's two spots that are breaking up closer to the highway 2.
Yeah, there's some up north there, yeah.
And then the third one was south of Roarville. Roarville. There's a spot where the wheel ruts are getting really bad and the water sits in the wheel ruts. So those three are the main.
Do you have the ability to add any?
We can.
Right south of the old St. Benedict's Church there. Where that hole is.
That's on my.
Yes, okay, I kinda figured it was on your list, but it's just a small spot, but we should do something about that, because that hole is getting pretty, I mean, all of us locals know to drive around it. But if you happen to be passing somebody at the same time, that thing's getting pretty nasty.
So that will be the fourth spot.
I think you talked about it, but about a mile south of Highway 2 on the right now.
Yeah, breaking up on the east side of the road there.
That's where St. Benedict Church is. I've got a few calls on.
And I've told people, I'm assuming we're gonna do it when we paper patch, but we're just waiting for the paper patching to happen, we don't do our own, so we're waiting for it.
What Strata told me is they gotta get the stuff in Devil's Lake done first and then work next.
That spot south of St. Benedict's there is strange, because we ground it down, there's a humps, then we ground it down, and now it's creating a hole. Because before you'd hop over the top of the dug, I think so, it's strange.
Culvert there?
Yeah, but you looked at the culvert multiple times, and the culvert looks good, so it's weird, it just apparently frost heaved, and when we cut it down, it must have decided to die, or I don't know, frost does some weird thing.
And the other thing, the first of October meeting during the election, I don't know,
Yeah.
changing the date.
Next meeting.
And talking about the first meeting in October.
Do you know what date? I got planning that week for the,
Probably Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay.
Does that work for you? Or do you like,
I think so.
or do you like Friday?
Friday doesn't work.
The sixth then, thank you.
Sixth.
Yeah, we usually do it Thursday.
6 in the morning.
Sure. 6 in the morning?
No. It's in the morning, no?
Yeah.
In the morning. Oh, I thought you meant 6
in the
a.m. I was like, oh, 6 a.m.
6
That would
a.m.
work with me too. This thing knocked out. Be home with a donut and by 8. All right, anything else? Make sure I haven't skipped anything. Seeing nothing?